shadows where the whispers dwell, always trying to unring the bell. The red road calls a path less known, with haunted streets where the eerie winds moan. Creatures lurking just beyond the light, not just tales spun to frighten the night. The masquerade of ghosts, they walk along in this gritty realm. We're all too young. Take the red road, let the spirits unfold. Follow RezNeck Calkins, let the mysteries be told. Through the dark we'll weave into the unknown. With each step we take closer to home. They say it's fantasy, those hidden cries, but the brave-hearted witness the truth in the sky.
Welcome back to another week of Red Road Paranormal with your favorite RezNeck here. A few things to go through before we get to our first guest. Remember, June 27th, I will be in Baraboo, Wisconsin with Scotty Rourke and the Mad City Ghostbusters team at the old Baraboo Inn for their birthday party. We'll be helping with the investigations and the events throughout the entire night. There's still tickets available if you're interested in it. Check it out on their Facebook page. Also, I'll be in New Orleans August 1st and 2nd for the New Orleans Paracon. I'll be down there speaking on a panel about the Native American, paranormal, supernatural, and some of the medicines and protections with it. Now, with that being said, let's get to our special guest tonight, the bearded wonder, Mr. Tom Springer.
What's up, everyone? How you doing?
Love that beard, my friend. So glorious.
It's just glorious, yeah. So,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, for those of us that don't know who you are, why don't you give a little bit of background who you are and what you're about?
Sure. So my name's Tom Springer. For those who don't know me yet, the beard is my trademark. People seem to recognize me where I go by the beard. So basically, I'm prior military. Had abilities when I was in the military, but did not know I had abilities, and actually didn't walk into my abilities until I was about 4 years ago when I was 49.
Okay.
Realized I went on an investigation with some friends and actually started picking up a lot of things and realizing they were like, I was with two other mediums and they were like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just listening and talking to people around. And they're like, we can do that. How long have you been able to do that? And I went, 10 seconds. So then it kind of developed from there. But I do run the Stuff I Never Learned live stream. And that's simply because that was created because I really didn't know where to turn to ask for help about new abilities or anything else. So I kind of said, hey, let's build a community where we're not breaking the world trying to figure this stuff out and bring on guests who know what they're talking about to kind of help us along. And it's been basically going from there. So now I kind of do a little bit of everything.
Nice. So you already beat one of the things I was going to ask you is when your abilities started.
Oh, yeah. I think it's important to let people know that it happened. Like for me, it happened later, that there's no designated time when it can possibly happen to you. It doesn't happen to everybody in childhood or when you're born, and you're not born into it because of a gifted family. No one in my family has ever known about anything like this, and I'm the first one. So
yeah. Well, they say that everyone has the abilities, is whether you choose to believe in them or to accept them.
Correct.
So I know in the era that I grew up in, if you told people you had abilities, you're nutty in a pet coon and you had a straitjacket on.
Oh yeah.
Or you end up where a devil worshiper, according to a lot of the religions. Right. They didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
So it was very taboo growing up.
And it was very interesting growing up because I actually come from a Pentecostal Christian household, and my grandfather was an actual Pentecostal Christian. So my whole family was very religious. I grew up in the Pentecostal Christian faith, and kind of left the faith for a while, but always had the beliefs of it. And I still hold some of those beliefs with me. But you're right. It was definitely interesting growing up. And when you'd see people like us, then you were like, what's wrong with that person? But now it's a lot more common. Now it's a lot more basically appreciated in a way to be accepted by others because of your non-linear religious thinking. So
Yep.
yeah,
it's. I'm glad we're in a day and age that we are.
right.
You know, because it makes it a lot easier with life to be able to admit openly what we are, who we are, and what we're about.
Yeah, it took me a good couple of years even to like bring it out to the open at my work. Because like I said, I'm prior military, but I also still work for the military. So to talk about it openly, even in my office or in my unit I'm with, was a little questionable until they were very accepting of it. So I actually offered up a service. We do a services auction, and one of the services I offered was to offer to take people on a paranormal investigation with me for a day.
Nice.
And they bid on it. It went crazy. It like lit up like wildfire. So it was good that it took off so well. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I know the military, they've been studying the psychics and all that for years.
Yeah.
You know, you would have to, they automatically would have been open to it when one of them comes out and says, yeah, well, I have these abilities. And I'm about.
Yeah. The remote viewing from the secret files way back when from the CIA and everything else, you know, that's documented and stuff. But it was just for me being new to it, and then trying to introduce it to people who have already worked with me for 6 years. And then here I am 6 years later going, oh, by the way, I went on an investigation. Now it turns out I can see, hear, and talk to ghosts and a lot of other things. I'm back from my weekend. Hi. So
yeah, right.
Made it a little interesting to turn that around. So
yeah, it took a lot of years for me to come out public, and I didn't right away when I did come out public with a team. I didn't really lean into my abilities at first. I was more the investigator, and I knew I was sensitive. I knew I had abilities, but I really didn't have that confidence in myself to say, yeah, hey, I'm a psychic medium. It took a lot of training and going through a lot of different things with the Independent Spiritual Association and working with a lot of other mediums of them going, hey, you know you're more than what you are. You need just to admit it. You need to admit it to yourself, admit it to the world, and take your path.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I had to come about, because I'm like, oh, great. I'm part of an investigation team. But I was always like, but this is happening over here. And with the team, I would talk about it. But outside, like when I would like take people on investigations and stuff, I was just like hand out my equipment and go, this will tell us what's out there, rather than saying, and by the way, I can do it too. So I kind of stepped away from that for a little while. But now I tell people, I'm handing you the equipment so you can validate what I'm telling you, so you can sense it yourself. So
I use the equipment to validate what I'm feeling, picking up on, what I'm experiencing. And I love that with the equipment, but I think a lot of teams rely a little too heavily on the newer equipment.
I do too. I'm okay with it if that's all they know and that's what they're used to. But if someone is on the team that can basically read ahead of time, and they basically, like if I was out on an investigation, I very much trust my abilities. But if they're telling me I'd rather see the equipment happen than you, at some point they have to understand that I have been right 99% of the time, and the equipment's been validating me. So maybe you can trust me more than just relying 100% on the equipment.
Yep, so, exactly.
And I'm fine if they want to use the equipment, because that does validate those who don't know or can't see or feel or hear or anything else that this is actually what's happening. But most of the time, you're going to know ahead of time, because I'm going to be like, oh, by the way, someone's here. Let's start asking questions. And all of a sudden, like a REM pod starts going off or something else. They're like, how'd you know? And I'm like, you asked me to tell you when there was someone here? So you brought me along on it. Yeah, what you brought me along for. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun to do. Hi, Kimmy.
Now, do you actually see them, or in your physical eye, in your third eye? How does your abilities work with you?
So mine are kind of mine are very hybrid. The first one I saw was actually an apparition walk in on me. So I actually saw her, and she started talking to me, and we were literally with two other mediums, and I started talking to this lady, and they were like, whoa, and we were like on an overnight, like a whole weekend investigation, and we're 10 minutes into this overnight investigation, and we're sitting in the living room getting a game plan together, and I watched this lady walk in, and I'm like, oh, hi, and I start talking to her, and they're like, hold on a second, who are you talking to? And I'm like, well, this lady over there, and they're like, hold on a second, we know she's there because we're mediums and we can sense her, but what do you mean you can see her? And I'm like, I'm literally looking at her, having a conversation with her right now. And they were like, how long have you been able to do that? Like I said, I was like, now? And they were like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. So we've had an understanding through that. And for the time I've been doing it, is that they don't have just one way to come to me. If they want me to see them, I will see them. If they just want to talk, like when I do mediumship readings, I don't get symbols and signs. They're literally talking right into my ear saying, tell them this, tell them this. So I don't have to figure out what a red balloon means.